Hey there, storytellers! Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to day 2 of Bookoween. I'm gonna probably keep messing that up. Anyway, as you can tell from the title down below, today's video is going to be my official spooky season TBR. I kickstarted spooky season a little bit early, but it's now October, so it's officially spooky season, even for all the haters. They can't deny it. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. So, I'm going to start this TBR with a few that I absolutely feel like I have to get to in October, and then after that, it'll be ones that I'm just hoping to get to. So, first up, we have the Queen of Mystery herself, Miss Agatha Christie's Halloween Party. This follows Detective Hercule Poirot as he gets called in to investigate a Halloween party murder, potentially a double murder, because at the start a young 13-year-old girl, Joyce, says that she once saw somebody get murdered, and everybody kind of brushes her off. They're like, we don't believe you, get out of here with that nonsense. But then Joyce is found dead in the tub in which one would bob for apples. And so now the detective gets called in to see what kind of supernatural forces are at work, but he has to determine whether or not there's supernatural forces are at work or if we have a double homicide on our hands. So this is one I absolutely feel like I have to get to. It's set at a Halloween party, so of course it's perfect for October. I mean, look at this cover with the black and the orange and the pumpkin and the spooky tree and the clouds. It's just so aesthetic. But also, I just feel like I need something good to get my mind churning this October, to really get the gears going, and this seems perfect. Next up, I have Curse the Day by Annabelle Chase. This is a spellbound paranormal cozy mystery, book 1. Now, I picked this up because I heard it had Halloween Town vibes, and look, Halloween Town has been one of my favorite October movies ever since I was a little girl. Okay, I like the cozy but slightly spooky Halloweeny vibes of it. It just feels good. It's what it would be my ideal town. If I could live in a town, fiction or real, I would live in Halloween Town. Hands down, no questions asked. Would for sure do it. This book follows our main character, Emma, who is going into the Pocono Mountains to meet a client. What kind of lawyer is she? She's a public interest lawyer. And she's going to meet a client, and she gets turned around in the woods on her way there. And lo and behold, as she's driving through, she sees this man up on a cliff looking like he's about to jump into a lake, and she gets out to help him, and she ends up finding out that he can't leave. He's stuck in this town, and it turns out she gets stuck there too. What is it that keeps them there, you say? There's a border that keeps in supernatural creatures. So basically it is a town of supernatural creatures, witches, goblins, ghosts, angels, demons, all that good stuff. And Emma finds out the hard way that she is a witch. And like I said, it just sounds like it has all Halloween Town vibes. It's another little mystery. Like I said, I wanted to keep my brain churning with some interesting plot lines this October. Please ignore the sirens. It's really loud. But because it is a cozy mystery, it's not going to be quite as intense as, say, Agatha Christie. This is one I have to get to. My third and final required reading for spooky season is Under the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune. I discovered T.J. Klune's work through The House in the Cerulean Sea last year. No, I read it at the beginning of this year, I think. I don't remember when I read it, but I listened to the audiobook, loved it. This one seems like it's just going to be that same sort of blend of whimsical, cozy, slightly supernaturally vibes out there. All I really know is that it's about a ghost that refuses to cross over and the ferryman to the dead that he ends up falling in love with. And I think they're sort of at this in-between, almost purgatory kind of type location house. And that's where they're both staying. That's all I really know. It sounds really cute, and I really enjoyed The House in the Cerulean Sea, so if it's sort of anything along those cozy slightly supernatural vibes, I'm gonna be a big fan. Okay, moving on to the ones that I hope to get to, but let's be realistic. I haven't been reading a lot this past few months, so I'm just kind of trying to keep it real for myself. Anyway, the next one that I hope to get to is The Saturday Night Glows Club by Craig Davidson. This is one that I meant to get to in September and just didn't. It sort of has Stranger Things vibes, if you will, but in a supernatural kind of way. And it's set in the 1980s. It follows Jake Baker, who spends most of his time with his uncle Calvin, who's a kind but eccentric enthusiast of occult artifacts and conspiracy theories. So he befriends some new kids in town, and they spend the summer ghost hunting. But of course, it uncovers more than just sort of lighthearted, spooky ghost fun. And like I said, it kind of sounded Stranger Things-y, but with ghosts. So this is one I hope to get to. Next, we have a classic. It is Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey, and it follows our main character, Catherine Morland, I believe, as she goes to spend the winter, or she goes to spend time with a family member. I can't remember, honestly, much of this book, other than she goes to this location that's kind of very gothic and spooky and ghosty, and she's always enjoyed things like that, so she's in her element, if you will, and I think she kind of becomes a little bit of a detective and all that stuff. I can't remember specifically what the plot of this is about, but I do remember it is a gothic sort of spooky novel, and it's sort of Jane Austen's take on it. I think it's slightly mocking, if I remember correctly, like she kind of mocks the gothic novel trope a little bit, but I do enjoy Jane Austen's snark, so I do think this will be one I'll enjoy when I get to it, whenever that is. Next, we have one that in all reality I probably will get to, and that is Poems Bewitched and Haunted. It's an Everyman's Library Pocket Poets book. I found this at the used library book sale, and it basically is just a collection of poems by a whole bunch of different poets, you know, Homer, Emily Dickinson, Percy Bysshe Shelley, all, you know, just Robert Frost, anyone you can kind of think of, probably. And it's just a collection of their spookiest, most Halloween appropriate poetry. And so because it is so small and it's just a collection of poems, and I believe they're broken up sort of by theme, yeah, hags and beauties, dangerous wooers, other apparitions, and whatnot. Because it's just poems and they're broken up, I thought it would be something good to keep in my bag. That way, if I'm, you know, not wanting to listen to my audiobook that I might be doing, or not wanting to be in the middle of a full novel, I can just pick up this at any point, no matter where I am, and just get a little bit of spooky reading in and just get the vibes going. I thought it would be a good way to stay in the October spirit all month long. The next novel is one that I'm, like I mentioned, I think a while back in my Drug Academia video, is one I'm surprised I haven't gotten to yet, and that is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Robert Louis Stevenson. Wow, I couldn't say his name there. This, of course, follows Henry Jekyll, who is sort of looking to unlock the secrets of the soul, and he goes a little bit too far and unlocks the darker side of himself, the mischievous and malevolent Mr. Hyde. And basically Hyde starts to take over and like wreak havoc on the city of London, and it just sounds crazy. I know it's sort of a philosophical take on man's dual nature, so it is one I'm excited to read. I think it's gonna be appropriately spooky for the season. Next, second to last, we have Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury, and this follows two boys who one night sneak out to go to a carnival. I think they're sort of forbidden, but they sneak out to go anyway, and it's kind of a, how to describe it, it's kind of a, it's not quite what one would, it's called Cougar and Dark's Pandemonium Shadow Show, and it's kind of, it says to destroy every life touched by its strange and sinister mystery. So these boys kind of get swept up into this carnival that they're not really supposed to be at. I think it's meant to seduce and entice people into doing dark deeds, or sort of maybe giving up their soul for something. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those where you're kind of putting something on the line in order to be part of this mysterious, spooky carnival. And it comes on Halloween, so it's perfect. But that's all I really know about it. I don't know the full plot or the full extent of like what's meant to happen. Just that these two boys get involved with this spooky carnival that sort of sucks their innocence like a vampire. But I know this is one that's lauded as being perfect for October, so that is why it's on my list. And last but not least, we have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. This follows Mary Catherine Blackwood and her sister Constance, and I think their uncle, if I remember correctly. And they're basically this family that lives alone. They're very estranged from their town because of an event that happened, and a lot of speculation that Constance had something to do with it. Some of their family members died, and they believe Constance was the one to commit the atrocity. So they're ostracized by their town, they're looked down upon, and I believe it's a more than meets the eye kind of situation, in that I don't know that Constance is necessarily the guilty party or the only guilty party, but Shirley Jackson, I remember reading The Lottery and being horrified in like the best way. It's a horrific story, The Lottery, by the way. But if this is anything like that, which I'm sure it is, and I'm sure because it's Shirley Jackson, it's gonna be perfect and horrifying. But that is it for the books I hope to get to this spooky season. Like I said, there's 3 that I really feel like I need to get to, and then the rest I'm just hoping that I'm in the mood to read and get a lot of spooky vibes going. I have so many more spooky stories that I could have included on this list, but I honestly cannot get through them all in the month of October. So these are the ones that are just kind of on my radar for now. Like, the 3 are the ones that I'm definitely going to commit to reading, but the other ones are just the ones most prevalent on my radar. I have tons of options though, so I'm likely to change my mind about what it is I'm going to read, because I'm a mood reader. So I might read one of these and it'll put me in the mood for something else, and I'll have to hunt it down because it might not necessarily be the next one on my little TBR here. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by leaving a like down below. What spooky books do you plan to read in October? Let me know down in the comments. I'm very interested to see what other people's TBRs are for this spooky season. But for now, if you want to keep up with me and all of my bookish adventures, you can go ahead and click the subscribe button, and I highly recommend that you ring the little bell so that you don't miss a single beat of Bookoween. I will be posting a video every day in the month of October for 31 days, so you're definitely going to want to ring that so that you get notified the second my spooky videos go up. I will see you guys tomorrow on the next one. Bye!